I think Shemar Arnaux's potential impact in 2026 is really, really sliding under the radar here.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I'm Zach Blackerby. He's Kyle Rush, Auburn message board legend himself, the man over the barn, auburn.com. He hosts the Top Button podcast. He's hanging out with us. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. Auburn basketball is getting it going, and they have an incredible opportunity tomorrow night to host Texas. We'll discuss that in a bit, as well as other names that are potentially sliding under the radar. But as far as the guys coming in via the transfer portal, I think there's a strong argument for Shemar Arnaux, the former FSU corner, former Auburn commit, flips to FSU. Now he's back here. We've come full circle. But I think there's an argument as far as his potential impact in 2026, Kyle, for him being one of the guys sliding under the radar the most. Sure, you've got your Byron Browns and your Keyshawn Singletons. The guys is like obviously going to have a big impact on the team in 2026. But I think some of it's the timing of Arnault being added, where it was almost like, okay, is he a number 2 corner because it was shortly after the Andre Jordan Jr. signing? You know, he was from UCLA. But after talking to more people, like I think this guy is being respected by this coaching staff as if he is cornerback 1. And I think that is interesting, and I think it's something to monitor moving forward.
Sure, and like that the impact is going to be big based off of who they're replacing. Like you knew it's going to have to be a guy that's going to have an impact because you lost a guy that was, an impact guy in Kane Lee or Jay Crawford, whichever one you want to say he's replacing.
Yeah.
We're not talking about it enough. I mean, should be one of your starting guys out there. And I agree. I'm with you. What about it makes it go under the radar? I wonder.
I think it's because maybe it's because it happened later in the process, and it was after Auburn kind of locked up a few other defensive backs where like, okay, maybe he could be the guy. I think that's part of it. Might be because he's an underclassman, so it might have fallen into the category, especially when you look at defensive backs. There's so many guys that are older, where if you look at it just from an age standpoint, it's like maybe he's buried on the depth chart optically. I don't think that's the case, but it could look that way. And also like a guy that was committed and we all really liked his high school tape and then kind of went away. Like, is that less appealing? Like, do we get less emotionally excited about that? I'm not sure. But when we added him, I just didn't think in the moment that this was the guy that was going to be like a potential, clear-cut cornerback 1 type player. And the more I talk to folks, like I think that's how they view Shemar Arnaux.
Yeah, I mean, he played 350 snaps last year as a true freshman. He was a true freshman. He was in the same. He was in the Juju class, wasn't he? They went to school together. I think that's right.
Oh yeah, I guess
he's
you're
from
right.
Carrollton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you. I was excited about his commitment in high school, and obviously the flip sucked, and played a lot last year. Still young, made a lot of mistakes, but I guess Auburn's banking on that freshman to sophomore jump, which for a lot of players is a big jump. That's a huge jump from just getting into college football to you got a year under your belt. And honestly, when you play as much as he did, by the time you get to those last games, you're honestly more like you're closer to a sophomore anyway. So I think hopefully you're catching it on the upswing.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. The show I put up yesterday afternoon talked a lot about that jump from your freshman year to your sophomore year. And I think there's a lot of assumption that this staff is making with that. The 2 guys I mentioned specifically on yesterday's show were Jared Smith and Jonathan Eccles. And there's so many other guys that you can put into that category. And I think Shemar Arnaux is one of them. And we'll see exactly how they use the corners, but if I had to guess right now, your starting corners are Shemar Arnaux and Andre Jordan Jr. Some of that I'm basing off of what assumed NIL value is, and some of it also is tape and the analytics liking these guys as well. Shemar Arnaux's situation, I mean, you talk about what he did at FSU and playing a lot early. I mean, it kind of reminds me, it's not a perfect comparison, but I do think there's similarities. It does kind of remind me of Kayan Lee's freshman year, where was it Nehemiah Pritchett that was hurt and he had to kind of come in? Shemar Arnaux was thrown into the and said, "Hey, go fend for yourself. Do what you can." I was talking with Brian Smith, host of Locked On Seminoles and host of Locked On the Portal, earlier today, and just kind of, we were just kind of spitballing about Shemar Arnaux, and he's like, "Look, like, he was not put in a good situation last year.
No,
he made the most of it." And I'm like, "Well, how good is he?" And he's like, "Oh, he's an NFL corner. It's just he was a freshman that wasn't in a good situation last year. He's long, he's physical." Not good in the screen game, not good at stopping outside runs because he needs to gain some weight. That's going to happen naturally. That's part of that big jump that we talk about between your freshman year and your sophomore year. Okay, if all that happens and he just has that natural progression, he should be in a decent spot to excel, or at least be put in a situation to excel this season.
Where do you think, and I'm not changing the subject, but I think it's relevant. It's a relevant question. Where do you think Rayshawn Pleasant fits into this whole discussion? Because I thought there were times that he looked to me like he had the potential to be, a number one guy, a number one, at least on this team. And he doesn't get a lot of talk. And I know we're talking about transfer portal additions, but in that room, it's like he's sort of the forgotten. He's sort of like the forgotten guy. And, I don't think there was ever an announcement that he was coming back. I know he never went in the portal, but how do you think he factors into this battle? That's, to me, it's like you've said this before. It's like having 3 number 2 guys.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe fair. How do you see him playing into this?
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think it's 3 number 2 corners. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about portal impact. And if Pleasant wins one of those jobs, the impact for Jordan Jr. or Arnault, it plummets, right? When you talk about potential impact, because their snap count is going to go down a ton. I think it's going to be an open battle. You and I have talked about this a little bit, like from a philosophical standpoint. Like, I just
don't like a rotation.
I don't like a rotation. And I don't know if I like my return guy playing corner a ton.
Yeah, we've talked
like
about
I want him to be part of that rotation if you're going to have one. It just takes a special player. And hey, maybe Rayshawn Pleasant could take that step. Boy, wouldn't that be awesome for him and Auburn if that were the case? Let him battle it out. And if it ends up being Rayshawn Pleasant and Andre Jordan Jr., or Rayshawn Pleasant and Shemar Arnaux, and Andre Jordan Jr. is the guy that's next off the bench, okay. I also think Champ Anthony's kind of interesting because he played outside early on. He gets that brutal injury. He comes back and they move him to kind of be a middle of the field defender. Does he play nickel? Do you feel like you need to play him at nickel with all these sophomore defensive backs that you have with like Eric Winters and Fagans? I think Kamari Todd is a guy that you could play at nickel in 2026 as well. There's a lot of positional versatility. And usually when we talk about that in defensive back room, it's nickel to the 2 safety spots. But Champ Anthony's a piece of this. And I think Rayshawn Pleasant might be as well. When you talk about nickel to outside corner, there are options there. There are options there for sure. And so we'll see. We'll see exactly how Rayshawn Pleasant makes an impact, because you could tell me that Shemar beats him out. And you could also tell me that Pleasant finds a way to be one of those top 2 corners. I don't think either one of them would surprise me.
Do you think in the return deal, Rayshawn's been seems like exclusively a kickoff return guy? Does that factor in at all? Like, because you probably, in theory, you have maybe you have less opportunities to return than you do if you're a punt returner as well. Does that change? Does that factor into it all, or is it just like, no, like hard line, I don't want my corner returning anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's just
I know it's a personal preference thing.
It's a personal. I mean, I really like having like the backup running back there, or like a receiver that's kind of like Malcolm being back there for punts made a ton of sense to me, because like we couldn't get him the ball enough, but like there's an opportunity for him to do that. I don't know. I don't really have a great answer to that. I do think kickoff returns does feel different than punt returns. I do agree with you there. You're able to protect yourself a ton more. And hey, they may have enough of a rotation where it doesn't matter. Where like even if he is a starting corner, but then they bring him off, and we saw them rotate more last year than I thought they were going to. And I think a lot of that had to do with how comfortable they were with Rayshawn Pleasant being on the field. And Rayshawn Pleasant, in the 2 close games that Auburn was able to win, Rayshawn Pleasant was a massive reason why. The kick return against Baylor, the pick 6 against Arkansas. So does that warrant him being able to play and be a top 2 corner on this roster? Like, yeah, I think there's plenty of arguments for Rayshawn Pleasant.
Boy, if you could get anything close to that Arkansas game out of him, you know, week in and week out, he could be elite.
He could be. He absolutely could be. Absolutely could be. There were other guys that came in via the portal that could be sliding under the radar. Kyle's got a good one for you. That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. Kyle, I've been shouting out Keyshawn Hall and his performance on the road in Gainesville, Auburn's first win in Gainesville in 30 years. Incredible. Keyshawn Hall, a big, big part of that. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. If you're an everydayer, check out the Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonauburn.supercast.com. You can get access to an ad-free audio feed, as well as the members-only Discord. Be sure to check that out today. The link's also in the episode description down below. Kyle, you've got a name. You got a name as far as the portal guys coming in. Sure, there's the headliners for sure. Who's a portal addition over the last few weeks that might be sliding under the radar a little?
You know, this one to me was just popped in right off the bat, and it always intrigues me that I don't even add him in the conversation when I'm talking about the interior defensive line and how that plays out. And that's Cody Sigler. And I'm wondering if it has to do with the timing. He was one of the first non-guys, and he kind of got swallowed on both ends from USF commits. Like you had commits, I think, before and commits after. And it's like you forgot about it.
Swallowed. Yeah,
he got swallowed because there were so many
all the USF guys swallowed him.
That's going to be clipped. But yeah, I think he was your replacement for Malik Blockton. He had a very productive year last year, and he's going to play. He should play early and often. I really like what he did last year at Arkansas State, and there's a lot of teams that wanted him. Mississippi State wanted him really bad. A lot of guys tried to get him, and you ended up with him, and he's going to be a factor for sure.
Yeah, I like what they did across the board with adding and beefing up the sophomore class. Cody Sigler is one of what I think we need actually a little bit more of across the board as far as getting older senior leadership guys into these position rooms. You saw them eventually do that with the offensive line. It took them a second, but they got there, adding 5 seniors on the O-line. You didn't see that ever happen on the defensive line. I'm going to be honest, I kept waiting for it to happen. And the fact that it didn't happen makes Cody Sigler significantly more important. You're looking at an interior defensive line room where he is the lone senior. You have 1 senior interior defensive lineman. St. Ferrier is the lone junior. Everyone else is sophomores or freshmen, which is crazy, it's absolutely crazy to me. And I know they went for other guys, didn't work. I'm surprised they didn't settle for anyone else just to get more bodies in the room. If I'm being honest with you, I kept expecting for that wave to come just to get like backup seniors, and it just never happened. And so I'm with you. I think Cody Sigler is a massive, 1, physically, but 2, just from an impact standpoint, he's going to have to be. If you want to achieve what you want to achieve in 2026, you need your defensive lineman to step up, and Cody Sigler is a massive part of that. I think that's a great name, Kyle.
And Cody Sigler, he's seen some stuff. He's seen some stuff. You know,
You think so?
You go to West Alabama, then you go over to Huntington, then you work your way up to Arkansas State, and now you're, going to be at Auburn. He's been through it. He's seen some things. So
yeah, what a cool moment for him too. Like that. Yeah. This is the beauty of the transfer portal, right? Like this is when we talked about early on the transfer portal era. Like I think this is where this is where my brain went of, oh, this is going to be really cool for all these guys who didn't get recruited highly out of high school and they eventually get a chance, or for one reason or the other, they don't get to the P4 and they all move up. And there's precedence for this, right? Like Kieran Crawford, he's in Mobile this week right now, working out for NFL teams in the Senior Bowl. We've seen this with J-Mac. I mean, we've seen this across the board with, taking that step from, a Sun Belt level of competition to the SEC on a defensive front. We've seen it. Different role, different position, but we're talking about impact here. There is a precedence for guys like Cody Sigler coming to the SEC, playing well, and then getting interest from the NFL.
Yep. Love having, again, the age, the experience, and then dude's a player too. I mean, you study PFF probably more than anybody. Anytime you finish the season ranked in the 80s as far as grades, cumulative grades for your side of the ball, it's pretty good stuff. You don't necessarily have to dig in and find a particular stat that he does well. He kind of does a little bit of it all well. So
yeah, and that's what you want for defensive linemen too. Like sacks are cool, tackles for loss are cool, which I mean he's done well with that as far as getting behind the line of scrimmage. But a lot of that is like as a unit. And so with him being the leader just for almost by de facto because of age with all of these younger guys in the room, what does that look like? And then can he eat up blocks for Jared Smith on the edge, Womack on the edge, whoever else is asked to step up, JJ Falk, Joe Phillips? We'll see who all steps up at edge. But it's up to Cody Sigler and then whoever else steps up in that room, whether it's a St. Ferrier, whether it's a Buddy Mathis, whether it's a Malik Autry, Jordan Crawford, Darian Smith, Tavion Branch, Corey Wells. I mean, there are names. They're just so young. They're so young, and so many of these guys have to take a major step. And they've got the talent and ability. It's just the experience. And experience on the defensive line is such a big deal. But, man, I tell you what, if there's a position coach on this team that you trust to get it out of them, it's on the defensive line.
I got a feeling Vontrell's going to love this kid. Just the way from what little I know about Cody and what I know about the way he coaches and his expectations at practice, I think he's going to love this kid. It's going to be a perfect match.
I love kind of what you just put out there because, I mean, you just described Cody Sigler's path to Auburn. He knows what an honor it is to go out. He's going to know what it is every single day at practice.
That gave me chill bumps.
Yeah?
No joke. Yeah.
I'm about to start crying right now.
That was some bars right there.
Yeah, we ready? We all balling on our way to work this morning? No, but I mean, he's going to know like how big of an opportunity this is every single day. Like this is what he's worked for. And now he gets to play for a coach of Vontrell King-Williams who he knows that. I mean, he's as good at connecting with his players as anybody. And I think that's going to be a cool thing. I think it's going to be a super, super cool thing. What else is cool? Winning streaks. Auburn needs to extend theirs tomorrow night. That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. Can you imagine anyone else doing your taxes other than TurboTax, Kyle?
No, I do mine every year with TurboTax.
Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever. Just hand the thing off and move on. Live your life. Don't live taxes. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just make sure you file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. Massive win for Stephen Pearl on the road on Saturday. We've got a little bit of a winning streak going, back-to-back wins on the road, 3 straight dubs. It would be awful for Auburn to host Texas, a team that's solid, a solid Texas team, a winnable game for you at home. It would be awful for you to let this one slip because you're still on that emotional high from this weekend.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they beat Georgia by 20 points. So, I mean,
we did not beat Georgia by 20
We did not beat Georgia. Now, they played them at home, so there is that. But you're right. I mean, you have
at home too, right? No, we didn't.
We lost on the road there. I mean, you're a overturned call away from being first in the SEC right now. You have all the tiebreakers. You're an overturned call away from that. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Like this is a team that's figured something out, I think. And when you have a new team and a new coach, you expect them to progressively get better. And we were very front loaded as far as our schedule goes, as far as quality of opponents. So now you're starting to get in the groove, and don't get derailed. You know what I mean? Don't get derailed. Sure, that was an awesome win, but like Dap said, when we talked on the live on Sunday, and I called it a season defining win, he's like, well, it is now, but you got to play another one. And you can season define, turn it right around again if you blow it against Texas. You beat Texas. I mean, you got a real chance to go 3-1 over the next 4 games. You got 3 home games, which would be, you probably be the solo leader in the SEC if that were the case. You probably have to get a little bit of help from Texas A&M, but a really, really good opportunity here for this team. And they're figuring out how to score inside. They're figuring out how to play defense together, which is so important, and it's paying off.
A massive difference, and there are so many differences, but between this year's team and last year's team is who's that guy in the locker room that says, hey, it's great that we beat Florida. We've got to move forward. Yeah. And I don't think it's the Hod. Is it Keyshawn Hall? Is it a Keyshawn Murphy? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Okay, who is that leader? Who do we hear about that says, yeah, we can't waste it. We earned, I don't say given, we've earned an incredible opportunity, really a second chance on the season. Really what you did on Saturday, it changes everything. But it only changes everything if you don't, you got to stay level-headed with all of this.
Exactly.
Who is that guy? Is it one of the Keyshawns? Is it somebody else? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. It kind of feels like it's got to be Steven. I don't know that you necessarily have that alpha in the room that's going to command everybody's, respect to follow and fall in line. I mean, Keyshawn Murphy, his beginning to SEC play, he's almost averaging a double-double. His game has really elevated. And to me, he plays with a lot of intensity. And so how does that look in practice? And is that something that he can channel that intensity? I feel like he's going to get a technical foul every time he dunks one. They're
violent. And he hangs on the rim a little long sometimes where I'm like, okay.
He's got the timing down. Because he hasn't got called yet.
He's pushing it though. Every time. I'm with you.
So what I'm saying is typically you think of those leaders or guys that, you're kind of scared of a little bit. You know what I mean? They're intimidating, and he's by far the most intimidating guy on the team. If
every player on this team was angry at you, which one would you be most scared of? Is it Keyshawn Murphy? Yeah.
Keyshawn. And I think it's Keyshawn Murphy when he has short hair, Keyshawn Murphy. It seems like once he got his hair cut, his play has gone to a completely different level. So I think short hair Keyshawn Murphy is extremely intimidating.
I mean, it's working.
Yeah.
Kind of wish you just would have cut his hair at the beginning of the season. I wonder if he regrets that.
I don't know. 12 and a half, 12 points and 8 rebounds a game in the SEC.
Yeah. I was so wrong about him. He's been great.
Some thunderous dunks. And hey, I tell you what, man, his inside game is getting so much better. It's his post game, the little jump hooks and the floaters. Now, sometimes I think he gets lost as far as where he is, and he may be a little bit further away than he needs to be. but he is getting that down. And that is how many points did Janai Broom score off stuff like that last year? Like those little jump hooks and him learning. We know how to run that offense. Steven and Burgo know how to design an offense for that. So if you can be effective doing it, they can get you the ball and get you in those situations. And he's been capitalizing. No, he's probably not going to score 30 points.
No,
but he's going to give you 12 to 15 a game and play really good defense. He's playing great defense too. And then just crush the boards.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the guy. Maybe he is the guy.
That'd be great. Yeah. It needs to be somebody. I think it needs to be a player. I don't think it could just be Steven.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be a player as well. We'll see. We'll see if any of that is revealed to us over the next few days. Kyle, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, sign up for the barnauburn.com. It's our message board. And then that's where you can jump in the conversation. Got our YouTube page, The Barn Auburn on YouTube, and then the Barn Podcast Network, anywhere you get a podcast.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. Once again, if you haven't already, please consider joining the Everydayer Club, lockedonauburn.supercast.com, or you can check out the link in the episode description down below on audio or on YouTube. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.